welcome everybody. It's great to be with you again in the Curious Grace Drop-In Centre project. We have a range of activities that we're offering to our partners as you consider your community going on this journey. And one of these tools is how could church parishes, community groups look at establishing a range of people who can become volunteers in the drop-in centre and, in our language in the Catholic Church, be part of the parish group who supports the project. So we have the wonderful Cailey Sharp has been doing some homework on this, some very efficient homework, and Cailey's now going to explain to us her approach to community mental health outreach. Thank you, Cailey.
Thank you, Robbie. So, hi everyone. My name is Cailey, and I'm one of the mentors here at the Justice and Peace Office. I've been studying psychology since 2020, and I'm really interested in forensic psychology, family dynamics, and addictive behaviours. In my involvement in the Redefine Normal workshops, one key takeaway I have noticed is that close friends, family members, and communities play a pivotal role in someone's mental health journey, which leads me into my community mental health outreach program that I'll be presenting to you today. So first, I'm going to go over some of the key figures that I think is really important to understand behind mental wellbeing of the Australian population. For instance, the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare have reported that 1 in 5 Australians aged between 16 and 85 experience a mental illness in any given year, with the most common mental illnesses including depressive and substance use disorders. And despite nearly half of us experience disorders in our lifetime, more than 50% of affected Australians will go untreated. Now I'm going to be looking at some of the barriers and reasoning behind this. There are many factors that may act as potential barriers for effective mental health care and treatment. Specifically, a lot of research has shown that barriers to treatment entry can be both social and structural, with stigma acting as the largest barrier. And this stigma may come from attitudes formed over the decades across generations, or it may be something that is instilled and varying across different cultures. Overall, however, these stigmas have been proven to have damaging effects on treatment accessibility, outcomes, attitudes that are actually possessed by our healthcare providers themselves, as well as the particular policies that have been implemented that are allegedly trying to help our population. So now we'll take a closer look at the social aspects of these barriers. As discussed, stigmatizing responses and negative attitudes towards speaking up about lived experiences or seeking treatment have been directly correlated to a reluctance in seeking help. Because of this, a vast majority of affected individuals have reported feeling embarrassed and ashamed of their mental health, as they believe that outsiders would judge them and follow this socially constructed attitude of who this individual is meant to be based on their lived experiences, which leads me into my structural barriers to suitable care. And stigma has yet again contributed to a lack of government funding, limited location facilities, and overall structural inequalities. For instance, some members of society have actually resisted having treatment facilities of any mental health nature placed in their neighbourhoods, as they didn't want to be associated with people who may be attending these facilities, which is quite appalling to say the least. In further relation to this, the public tends to also be less interested in supporting funding for substance dependency treatments compared to any other mental health illness. Because of all of these factors, people do become hesitant in reaching out about anything that they may be dealing with. And with this, intervention types aimed at reducing stigmas have become quite limited. However, something that has been recognised is that individuals are more inclined to speak up if it is through a close friend, someone within their family, or a member of their community, such as a place of worship. Therefore, community-based approaches may challenge these barriers and help our local communities thrive. And if you wanted to have a read or get some further information on the statistics and literature I have just mentioned, here is a list that have been provided. They are really beneficial in getting to know more about some of the barriers and reasoning and attitudes towards mental health in general. Now, based on everything that I've laid out, I think it becomes apparent that we should be relying more so on community-based approaches, specifically close-knit community groups, as well within places of worship. So I therefore propose to you my Buddy Up for Mental Health program. This is a community-based support program where younger members will have the option to become buddies or buddy up with older members to discuss any concerns or things that may be taking place in their younger buddy's life. And I hope that in partnering someone with, say, from my generation, Gen Z, with someone from Gen X, may further challenge generational stigma and differences. However, I'm also hoping that this program can then be extended to members of like a similar age range or age bracket. So older members also have the option to buddy up and then confer about occurrences within their lives and have someone that they can go to. So essentially, like-minded individual that you can turn to for support, guidance, or just someone to talk freely and openly with. And I know that it may not always be feasible in every situation or place of worship, but it would be great if some buddies had lived experiences that they were willing to share with other buddies to make them not feel so isolated and provide them more with a deeper knowledge and understanding of just how common and normal mental health and mental health problems may be. So a prime example of a buddy seeking support would be a teenage boy who has been witnessing his older brother's frequent drug usage, which has caused him to feel quite anxious and worried. He might have a family dynamic where he doesn't feel as though he can turn to his parents or guardians. Therefore, I believe he should have the option to turn to his parish buddy or his worship buddy for support, whether it be for guidance on how he can better support his brother or just to let it off his chest and not feel like there's this weight bearing down him that he feels responsible for. It is also important to remember that we can't force someone to get help or be treated, but we can be there to support them on their mental health journey. Now, by starting small in places of worship, such as parishes or mosques, as well as local community groups, I hope to then extend this program to the wider community, such as through schools, to reduce gaps in support and overall challenge the stigmas surrounding mental illnesses, and essentially provide support internally to diminish barriers externally. I have also developed a QR code, which will take you to a downloadable infographic of some of the things that I've covered today if you wish to distribute it to your local club or your church, or if you just want to have an additional read, it'd be really good for you to have and also to pass on to your buddy if that is something that you were wanting to do. I will now try and cover some frequently asked questions regarding the application of this program to help cover some concerns that I've noticed have popped up when I've presented this before. So first and foremost will be funding. So how much would it cost to run a program such as this? A program is essentially expense-free, as you are not required to pay for this program to be run. The only expenses that may come up would include the possible provision of light refreshments during the workshop, but this is dependent upon each place of worship or local club if they are wanting to do something like that. Now, how do I get my local club or place of worship involved? Now, it would be really good to propose the idea of a mental health program to your club leader or your faith local head / spiritual advisor. So, for instance, your pastor, priest, rabbi, imam, offer to provide education on interventional types if you may need to do so to get the ball rolling on their involvement. Even offered to host. Any member of your local community, including yourself, is capable of taking charge. It doesn't necessarily need to be run by your religious leader. But however, you would need their consent if you're wanting to run it in their place of worship, but you are capable of running it yourself. I've also provided a little support fact sheet. This will take you to a fact sheet that covers a list of services that are openly accessible and available for a range of different individuals. Most of them are available 24/7, which is really good. There are some on there for men only, some for Indigenous Australians, and some for parents or children on their mental health journey. I think this is just a really good list of resources to have available if you have a buddy to come to you and they are wanting to just go straight to services for treatment or guidance. But again, it is really important to remember that you're not trying to treat the person, you're just there to support them on their journey. This wraps up my side of the presentation for you today. If you have any further questions or how to get involved, I have provided my contact information down the bottom here, and I look forward to hearing from some of you.